Hi, I'm Stuart from HiFi PiG. We are at the last Munich High End before it moves to Vienna in 2026. We're in the Aries Cerat room with Stavros, and this year you always do absolutely incredibly mad designs and things at Munich, but this year you brought the new Palace speakers. Tell us a little bit about them.
So it's not just a palace. First, welcome to our room.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate your visit. The whole system is almost brand new. Everything was developed during the last year. So starting with the palace, this is a step below our flagship. So it is, let's say, our second smallest model.
Okay.
It's a four-way horn speaker. It's semi-active. So starting from the base, it carries 8 woofers, 12-inch per channel in a folded open baffle.
Okay.
With 1-inch solid aluminum wings. Okay. And with cross bracing, so we have noise cancellation, we have vibration cancellation.
Okay.
On the structure. The front section of the speaker is actually passive, and it's a 3-way horn. We have the mid bass, which is loaded with the field coil 8-inch driver. And we print our own face plugs, 3D metal printed face plugs. The mid-range is using, let's say, an upgraded replica of the 555 driver, custom made in Germany. And then we have the long throw Tratrix loaded ribbon.
And what's the finish? It's a really beautiful finish. What is that called?
So the horn is made out of solid wood, and then we cover it with a proprietary finish we call liquid pearl.
It's beautiful.
It's about 4 or 5 millimeters thick.
Oh wow!
And it's hand applied, hand finish. Takes quite a long time to actually get to this.
And what's feedback been like from people that have sat in front of them? I've not had a chance to see.
It's very different in person. So on pictures, it's a hit and miss, but in person, so far everybody wants to have it in their living room just to look at it.
You have to have a big living room.
Yes, it's very different in real life because the texture is actually 3D, so you can't get that in a video or in a picture.
Okay.
It's quite different.
And what else is new?
We have the new flagship monos. They are part of our Legend series.
Okay.
This year we decided to relaunch our noise technology. It's negative output impedance energy source.
Okay.
And using that technology, we're able to marry several different technologies to that. Okay. And we spawn out with several new designs. So at the Legend series, our flagship series, we ended with the Odysseus amplifiers. These are single-ended, single-stage 100-watt amplifiers.
Okay. Valve-based or?
This is triode-fed.
Okay.
And then we have the 3 chassis flagship preamp.
Okay.
Which is also using the noise tech combined with our inverted triode technology.
And what is noise tech?
Noise tech is it's called negative output impedance energy source. So what happens is that it's a bit technical, so I don't want to mumble.
Yeah, okay.
Instead of having a PSU, which will try to have a stable voltage output, you have a PSU which modulates in sync with music. Okay. And let's say you have a stage, an amplifier of a line stage, which will try to swing positive, which will draw much more current from the power supply.
Okay.
The power supply, instead of trying to be stable, it will swing with the power stage, adding more power to it. So it's like, do you want one? I'll give you 2.
Okay.
And vice versa. If you don't need something, I will take back from you. So what happens is that you have a single stage which, looking back at its power supply, it's looking like it has a negative impedance.
Okay.
And at the same level as the positive impedance of the stage itself. So you get noise cancellation, you get distortion cancellation, and sound-wise is where the big difference is, because you get this mirror-free transient. So we were very happy to reintroduce this technology, which was actually developed in 2011.
Okay. You're celebrating 15 years this year.
15 years, yes. And I put that technology in the fridge. I say, okay, let's keep it for later.
Okay.
And then for 15 years, I said, okay, let's redevelop it and take it to a new level and combine it with our existing technologies.
If you don't know the history of Aries Cerat and where the electronics come from, head over to the website. It's a really interesting story, and very briefly, the electronics were originally designed as tools for making
Correct.
the
So
speakers?
starting the company, we were, establishing the company for a dream to make the best speaker possible.
Yeah.
But I did not like what's out there for electronics, and you have to have the top-notch electronics
yeah.
to develop something that you consider top speakers.
Yeah.
So I tried to redesign, design from scratch electronics like the sources, the phono stages, line stages, amplifiers as lab tools to create our electronics, to our speakers, sorry. And then time went by and, the speakers were delayed to be launched and people were listening to our electronics and pushing us to commercialize.
Okay.
So it was like, okay, let's try commercializing our lab tools. So this is how the company started.
And there's nothing else that looks like Aries Cerat. It's you'll not mind me saying it's absolutely bonkers, but bonkers in a really good way.
I think.
And last year you introduced the turntable, didn't you?
Yes. To accompany the turntable this year, we also launched our baby phono stage, the Hermes.
Okay.
So it's the smallest phono we ever did, but in my opinion, it's a real game changer because it overshoot its, let's say, target performance.
Okay.
And it's going to be a part of the entry-level series.
Okay.
And we decided to have, the big system with the baby phono to show how
That's
high
really interesting. Yeah.
it can perform. The turntable we presented last year. We have some tweaks and changes on the motor design, and we also developed a new toner, which is a hybrid metal print carbon infused design.
Okay.
And we're happy to have both the old and the new toner to play both.
How would you describe the Aries Cerat sound?
Well, personally, I try to make the sound as a living organism, like you have a real presence. So not the cinematic flat experience, but actually music that you feel in your body.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this is our aim. Even if you have smaller speakers, we try to have electronics that will get the speakers alive to make real presence in your space.
I think that pretty much sums up what I've sat in front of other systems of yours, and they're always very organic, very natural sounding, but also with absolutely masses of power.
Yes.
And
because you have to feel the
absolutely.
The energy. We don't like this canvas kind of music where it's a flat, like a screen kind of, TV screen kind of sound. We really like the energetic, move your seat kind of sound, even on low levels.
And what's the feedback been from people that have sat in front of this system?
Well, it's quite positive. A lot of people prefer this system even from our last year's.
Because these are not your top of the range, are they?
This is the middle model. We have the Auroras at the system behind you. We'll have the flagship we presented last year. And this is a model which sits right in the middle in terms of pricing. Performance-wise, I think they are a bit above the middle ground.
Okay.
So we're very, very happy that it turned out the way it did.
And they're very expensive.
Yes.
But not as expensive as some of the systems that are lesser, if that makes sense, that we see around the show. And how much are these three?
This is 380, but in my opinion, it's quite a speaker. It has 16 amplifiers to drive the woofers, one amplifier per woofer.
Okay.
Its crossover is fully adjustable with Bluetooth application.
Okay.
But in analog, not with DSPs.
Okay.
So the Bluetooth switches relays, which in terms switch different filters for the speaker.
Oh,
so
cool.
you can actually adjust the speaker while listening at your chair.
And that's all done on a little app?
Yes, with your phone.
Oh, wow.
So
the crossover's the great big thing at the back. Yeah?
Exactly. The crossover also handles the conditioning for the power of the field coil.
Okay.
It handles the Bluetooth system, the constant group delays for the 4-ways, and also the passive analog filters for the 16 amplifiers.
And what are the amplifiers? Are they AB, A?
They are Class D. They operate from 100 hertz and below.
Okay.
And it's 500 watt each.
Oh,
so
wow.
you get 8 kilowatts of power
Oh, crikey.
for the bass. Even though the woofers are quite sensitive, they're about 99 dB.
Okay.
So you get 4 kilo.
I did say it was insane. That is insane,
So
8 kilowatts.
Huge headroom, and we prefer to have one each because what happens if you parallel woofers, each woofer is a bit different from its mate, even if it's the same. So the back EMF is going to be a bit different.
Okay.
So you got some weird interaction, especially with feedback loops in the amplifiers. So what we said, okay, we can afford, let's say, 1 amp per woofer.
Absolutely.
So let's go.
Why
for
not?
it. Yeah.
So what's next for you guys? Something bigger, better?
Well, we're having some, let's say, secret developments in digital. Okay. We're developing a digital interface for our DACs, which will sit between any source, digital streamer or even a laptop, and your DAC, which will bypass, let's say, the USB, which is the limiting factor in pretty much all the DACs. So what we are doing is an interface which will scrap the USB and be compatible with pretty much any server without any modifications, and be retrofittable to all our DAC series. Okay. So this is, let's say, under the radar for quite some time.
That's not a secret anymore, is it?
Now, no. So we hope to have it ready by the end of the year. Okay. We have it in the system already. Okay. But it's like stashed somewhere. Okay. Brilliant. So I hope we'll have it ready by the end of the year. It's, in my opinion, it's quite a game changer, because it really gives quite an upgrade to our users. It's not going to be for all DACs, so this is not the mainstream usage of the device. So it's going to be an upgrade for our clientele. Okay. So this is the last of the Munich shows. Are you going to be at the Vienna show next year? Yes, we already reserved a big room there. So I'm very, very curious to see how that goes. It's a fantastic venue, and if you're not going to see this until after Munich, but if you are at the Vienna show, and I urge you to go to the High End in Vienna because it's a great venue, come and listen to this guy's system. They're always absolutely insanely good. So we were just having a coffee with Stavros after the main interview that you've just seen, and we were talking about the systems and the different systems that he has, and he just mentioned that he'd got a new entry-level amplifier. So we've come over here to have a look at the Quindecim, which means 15, obviously to celebrate 15 years, and it's a 15-watt amplifier. Correct. But I'm going to let Stavros tell you a little bit more about it. So the new baby amp, it's our smallest available product. And we decided to launch it for about 15 years. That's why we call it 15. Okay. Coincidentally, it's exactly 15 watt. Oh, wow. Before clipping. And its main point is that it uses our noise tech, which we mentioned, but using plain tubes instead of triad fed or inverted triad. It uses a very, very super high-tech spec tube. It's called E130L. Very, very low impedance, very, very high transconductance tube, and very, very cheap. Yeah, you said they were $40 or? Yes, $40. You can get a Siemens Telefunken. So, you can make a retubing very, very affordable. You don't need a mortgage to retube the amp? You don't need to get crazy nose tubes for it. Okay. Now, we've just talked about the speakers over there that were 385 grand. Yes. And I asked the price of this expecting something 50, 60,000 euros. Yes. And what is the price? Price is 18.5. So it is quite let's say, under spec amplifier. It shoots way beyond its price range. But we had some, let's say, clever designing in terms of manufacturing. So we did not compromise on the components. The components, you can never find these circuits and components even in triple the pricing, but we designed it in a way that it's going to be produced very, very fast, so you skip a lot of labor producing it. So that way we were able to get at that price range. Okay. And I imagine you will see us review this amp at some point. I'm fairly sure you will. But yeah, thank you ever so much. I just wanted to introduce this new amplifier because it's relatively entry level and all the rest of it. So thank you. Thank you.